Hello everybody. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we are going to work on a sympathy arrangement. So I have got this cute little church. It is a container that we have here in the shop. We have crosses and just different types of wood containers. And my client came in and asked us to make a sympathy arrangement in this container. And so what I'm going to do is I have taken a design bowl. This is just a long green design bowl. We order these from our local wholesaler. And then this is about, not quite, a little more than 2/3 of a block of fresh floral foam. I just trimmed it up so it would fit perfectly down into the bowl, and then I taped it into place. Now the foam has been soaked, so I always like to reiterate that we do soak the foam, and then I have taped it in. I like to tape it in 2 different places just to make sure that it doesn't fall out. This design bowl sits perfectly down into this container, and so I just tucked that right into that container. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of leather leaf as my greenery, and I'm going to add it to that foam. Now I'm going to use my fingernail, but you can absolutely use a floral knife, and I am just going to go all the way throughout that floral foam. And I am just taking that leather and just tucking it right down into the foam, and I'm just making sure that all the foam is covered. I do have some pretty eucalyptus that I'm going to add also. Now I would normally take that ribbon off of this container, but they liked the bow, so I'm going to leave that on. But I'm just taking my leather. All right, so there is our greened out container. So you can see, I'll pull it, show you. You can see how I just added that leather leaf, and it's covering up that bowl so you can't see it. Next I'm going to use my seeded eucalyptus last. Next what we're going to do is use some blue delphinium. So I have 3 stems of blue delphinium, and I'm going to take that. I'm going to use my floral knife and cut that stem at an angle and press that right down into that floral foam. Okay, so there's our 3 blue delphinium. Next we're going to come in with our sunflowers. So our sunflowers are a focal flower, and I'm actually going to grab one more because I feel like 3 looks better than 2. I'm going to start out with this smaller bloom. And I'm going to press him kind of taller in that arrangement. And then I'm going to take my larger bloom, and he's going to go a little lower in the arrangement. So anytime you have focal blooms or focal flowers, what I like to do is sometimes they're different sizes. I always like to put my smaller bloom higher in the arrangement and my larger bloom lower. Now the reason is visual weight. Visually, the larger bloom looks heavier, so you want to make sure the larger blooms go to the bottom. Next, I'm going to come in with some yarrow. I have some beautiful yellow yarrow. The yarrow is going to be really the same. You're going to see this is a larger bloom here, the medium, and then the smaller. You're going to graduate them from the smallest to the largest being at the bottom. And so I think I will take some of that pretty yarrow, which is so fun. I love the texture of yarrow. Just a really pretty, fun flower. So I took the larger bloom and tucked it toward the bottom. That medium is going to go a little higher, and then my smaller is going to go just a little higher. So you kind of step up. So there's our pretty yarrow tucked in to the side there. Next we're going to fill in with some orange spray roses. These are called Orange Babe spray roses, and they're such a pretty orange color, really perfect for autumn. Now this one stem has really long stems, so you can actually take it and break it apart and insert these separately from the original stem. So I'm going to take that that original stem, and I'm going to nestle it right down into that foam. And then these are the stems that I pulled off. And I am just going to take and cut them, and we're just going to kind of sprinkle them throughout the arrangement. I did grab one more sunflower. He's a little bit larger, so I thought I would tuck him in. Sometimes in floral design, you got to rearrange a little bit. You always want to be careful though when rearranging in floral foam. You don't want to stick it in and pull it out and stick it in often, okay? So you have to be kind of careful because you'll tear up that foam. If you've ever worked with floral foam, it's very soft. And so you don't want to tear it up by any means. You want to just be careful when sticking it in and pulling it out. I'm going to put another stem of these orange spray roses in here. Tuck it over here to the side. And then we're going to take a few stems of mums. So these are a beautiful little fall mum. And we're going to cut those small and kind of sprinkle those throughout. I love the autumn color. This kind of has a little bit of that golden yellow from the sunflowers and the yarrow, and then it also has that pretty orange from the roses. So I think this is the perfect addition. Now these are flowers that were grown, the chrysanthemums were grown by my friend Mary she has a flower farm here in Starkville, and so she brought some of her pretty little mums to us, and so they're kind of fun to sprinkle in, and I think they're the perfect color to add to this arrangement. Now some of the leaves don't look beautiful, so I'm just taking and removing those leaves. It is not hurting the flower at all. All right, I'm going to count the arrangement. I think I might have a little more money to be able to add maybe a couple of red roses. So I'm going to count it really quickly. Okay, so I do have some extra money. I'm able to put these 3 red roses in here. And so I'm going to take these red roses and I am going to grab some wire. Got some right over here. So I'm taking just about 1/4 of a wire. We just cut them into small pieces. And this is called a Freedom Red Rose, just a pretty bright red rose. I'm going to take my florist wire and I'm pressing it right into that calyx there. And then I'm going to just twist it around that stem. Now the reason I like to wire roses is because it just helps to keep those heads standing up and firm and pretty. And so I'm going to do that with all 3 roses. All right. I'm going to pull off that greenery because I'm going to cut it too short. So I think that I'm going to, let's see where we're going to put him. I'm going to tuck him low there. Take my next stem, put that stem at an angle. I think this red is the perfect addition to this beautiful container. And take our last stem. I'm taking my floral knife and removing the thorns. I'm going to tuck him a little taller. And there is our finished arrangement. And so you can see how very simply it was to put it together. Adding your greenery first and then kind of coming through with your flowers. You can see all of my focal flowers, I used odd numbers. And the reason I did that, now let me say that rules are meant to be broken. It's okay if you break a rule. But when you look at sunflowers, often for me personally, when it has that dark center, it almost looks like eyes looking back at you. You always want to try to work with odd numbers, especially if they're very round and they could look like eyes. That way we don't have something looking at you. So anytime you design, I want you to think like that. I want you to stand back, look at it, make sure that it's not a creature looking at you. And the same with your line flower. I like to use odd numbers with my line flower because if you only put 2, it's almost like antenna from a bug. Just a thought. But you can see where I used 3 of my red roses. I used 3 of my sunflowers and 3 of the yarrow. Now the spray roses had lots of small little blooms, and so did the mums, so I just kind of mixed those in. But I think the arrangement turned out lovely. What do you think? If you enjoyed this video, guys, please give us a thumbs up. And be sure, if you have not already, subscribe to our channel. Hit that little subscribe button right down below. If you'll hit the bell, it'll give you notifications for when we have a brand new video. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.